I'm here to assuage your concerns and let you know that I have no monopoly on the right answers, but I'm very, very pleased to share at least a little bit of what my experience has been with maybe some audacious actions. I want you to know, having grown up in a working class neighborhood in South Miami, often exposed to our own set of environmental challenges that we just kind of had to accept in many cases because we didn't know much better. That an organization like this exists to protect people like me and in the neighborhood that I grew up in, where folks may or may not have been exposed to more or may not have felt empowered to do anything about it, that the work of the Center for Environmental Health exists for many of us. And so for that, I am thankful. I want you to know that, that's right, you all should give CEH a hand for that. I'm here tonight because the Center for Environmental Health, CEH, has planted their feet firmly in the gap on behalf of children and families, and that from the very humble beginnings of this organization, where Michael Green was using his background as a staffer with the U.S. Department of Energy in his personal credit card. You must have quite a limit. CEH has fought life-saving battles to keep lead out of children's products, stood shoulder to shoulder with communities of color in the fight for environmental justice, and shut down California's last medical waste disposal incinerator, right? Incinerator. The odds were long in many of these battles, and I know a little bit about those battles, but the odds were long. But thanks to the great work of the staff, of the board, of your amazing leader, we're here today, tonight, celebrating some amazing achievements due to some audacious actions. And frankly, that is the core of audacious actions, just like your struggle against Pepsi and Coke. All right? CEH's bold, ambitious, and most importantly, successful fight with these two corporate giants to eliminate a cancer-causing chemical in their products is a monumental victory on behalf of consumers, children, families, for generations to come, not just today, but well into the future. It's a victory that says, under the Safe Drinking Water Act and Toxic Environmental Act, California's Chemical Right to Know law, no corporation, no matter how well known or how brand friendly they may be, are immune against audacious actions. Congratulations on the work that you all have been doing. I salute your extraordinary work. And I'll have to say that while I didn't take any actions against Coke and Pepsi, I'm pleased to share my own audacious actions as we took on the fight against the gun lobby in the NRA, right? And I mention that fight because there's so much about these fights that are very common. Usually on the other side of very, very powerful, well-moneyed, and well-heeled interests. And oftentimes on the opposite side of those fights are people who are not always aware of what their power and what their influence can be to create the kind of change that we all want to see. In my particular fight, in the state of Florida, the home of the Pulse nightclub massacre, the Fort Lauderdale airport shooting, most recently the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and the everyday gun violence that pervades our city streets, in and out of every single community across my state. In the state of Florida, I was allowed to be sued and drugged through court for 2 years, all because we refused to repeal a single ordinance in our city which simply said, you cannot shoot guns in city parks. Radical. No, no, no. It is as uncourageous a public policy statement as anything I have ever heard, right? You cannot shoot guns in parks where our kids play and our families picnic. And in the gunshine state, as we're sometimes known, an elected official can be personally sued, personally fined up to $5,000, personally responsible for reimbursing the attorney's fees of the opposing party up to $100,000, cannot be represented by your legal counsel but have to find your own representation and ultimately can be removed from office at the discretion of the governor. That is still the law in the state of Florida. Hiss is right. In Florida, I tell you some other things you could do, but a hiss will be fine for tonight, right? We faced an uphill battle. But we were able to beat them at the circuit court. We beat them at the appellate court, and I wanted to take it to the Supreme Court if they wanted to continue this fight. And today we have over 20 cities that are now bringing a joint action lawsuit where we're asking the court, the Supreme Court of the state of Florida, to declare this law unconstitutional, right? I want you to follow us in this fight. Audacious actions, right? Audacious action. And so my question for the work that we are all doing is that all of us want to one day, if asked the question, be able to answer unapologetically that the children are well. The children are well because we've taken lead out of water. The children are well because we've taken dangerous contaminants out of toys. The children are well because we have stood in the gap to make sure that we have a clean and a healthy environment, air that they can breathe, water that they can drink, communities regardless of whether they are high income or low income, where children aren't extra exposed to asthma, carcinogens, nitrate levels that flow into the groundwater and contaminate our water system. So I'm extremely proud of the work that you all are doing every single day on behalf of all of us. And I hope that as we sunset and look toward the future of this work, that when we're asked the question, how are the children, we will all be able to answer unapologetically that the children are well. Thank you and God bless you. Appreciate it.